A long time ago, during the time of the Parumuttara Buddha, the son of a rich family in the city of Hangsawati went to the Buddha's monastery. There, while listening to a sermon, he saw the Buddha proclaim a certain monk as the foremost among all monks adored by devas. As such, he had a strong desire to become such as this great monk in the future, and made many offerings and his aspiration before the Buddha. The Buddha used his foresight to look into the future and confirmed that his wish would come true. In a future birth, that young man was born in the Deva realm, and subsequently was always born in either the Deva or the human realm. During the time of the Sumedha Buddha, he was born as a human being. In that lifetime, he made substantial offerings at a great shrine in honor of the Buddha who had just passed away. In addition, he made many great offerings to the Sangha. In his final life, he was reborn as a Brahmin in Sawati. His name was Pilinda, and his clan name was Vacha. Thus, he was called Pilindavaccha. The young Brahmin Pilindavaccha had a natural disenchantment with the world. While other young Brahmins were obsessed with beauty, food, power, and wealth, Pilindavaccha felt that these things could not bring him fulfillment and happiness. Something inside him could not get excited by these things. Eventually, he decided to become an ascetic and studied the magical art known as Chulakantara, which focuses on using powerful mantras. He practiced diligently and gained mastery over these mantras. Using these mantras, he could read the minds of other people and was able to travel in the air. He became the greatest sage in Rajagaha, amassing a huge following and much wealth. After the Buddha Gautama appeared in the world, he traveled around the country helping people. Eventually, the Buddha reached Rajagaha. From the moment the Buddha entered Rajagaha, Pilindavaccha's powers were notably impaired. However much he chanted his proven mantra, he could not travel in the air, and he could not read the minds of other people. He was greatly perplexed. Then, he remembered what he was told, that even if one was a true master, if his art belonged to a lower grade, when someone who had mastered the art to a higher degree happened to come near him or within his range, the lower master's powers would greatly wane. Pilindavaccha thought about it and realized, the statement I heard from old teachers must be true. Ever since the ascetic Gautama came to Rajagaha, my arts have become visibly impaired. The ascetic Gautama must certainly be a master of the higher art. I must go learn his art. He then went to the Buddha and said, "O Venerable Sage, I wish to learn your mystic arts. May the great sage agree to take me on as a student and teach me the ways." "If you wish to learn my arts, you must first ordain as a bhikkhu, a monk." "If I ordain, maybe this monk will teach me his higher arts. I must do whatever it takes to gain his mantras." After Pilindavaccha ordained, the Buddha used his supreme wisdom to see what kind of contemplations Pilindavaccha had begun in the past. He then gave Pilindavaccha a contemplation topic that suited his temperament. Pilindavaccha had the 3 requirements for enlightenment. 1. He had previously cultivated enough paramitas, qualities and virtues, for enlightenment. 2. He had the right method, given to him by the Buddha. 3. He put forth the appropriate effort. With these 3 criteria, Pilindavaccha gained deep insight and wisdom, and soon attained arahantship. Even though he was a fully enlightened arahant, the Venerable Pilindavaccha had a unique habit of calling other people Wasara Samutachara, or Wasara, meaning rascal. For example, he would say, "Wasara, come here," or "Wasara, here, take this." Monks who heard this were offended. They were confused why an arahant was speaking so rudely or disparagingly.
Buddha, do Aryas, noble enlightened beings, use harsh language?
Monks, Aryas do not use harsh language in derision. Yet, owing to ingrained habits acquired in successive past existences, harsh words may come to be used quite inadvertently.
My Lord Buddha, knower of all things, why does the Venerable Pilindavaccha refer to others as Wasara?
Monks, Pilindavaccha has been born as a high-class Brahmin for 500 successive lives. High-class Brahmins often refer to lower-class people as Wasara. This habit that he had for 500 successive rebirths had become ingrained in him. When he uses the word Wasara, he does not mean it in the way that you interpret it. That is merely your interpretation of his usage. He has no evil intent. You merely assume he has evil intent. His words, though harsh to hear, are harmless. The harm you sense comes from inside your mind. You are the one interpreting meaning where it does not exist. At the end of the Buddha's sermon, many listeners who actively contemplated the Buddha's words became enlightened at various levels. One day, while the Venerable Pilindavaccha was out collecting alms in Rajagaha, he met a man entering the city with a bowl full of cubeb, a valuable herb.
Wasara, what is that in your bowl?
The man was offended by the word Wasara.
How rude! This monk greets me as a rascal so early in the morning. How inauspicious! I must match his rudeness with rudeness. Venerable, it is rat droppings.
The Venerable Pilindavaccha had no ill intentions in his usage of the word Wasara. However, the merchant's reply was full of anger, and his bad intentions against an arahant led to dire consequences that took immediate effect.
So be it. Be it as you say.
Both men then continued on their respective paths. After the man left the monk, he looked inside his bowl of cubeb and found that instead of the cubeb he had packed, it was filled with rat droppings. He was very unhappy. The cubeb was going to fetch him a hefty profit, and now it had become rat droppings. He then realized that he had more cubeb in his cart. He wondered if all his cubeb in the cart had become rat droppings as well. He ran to the cart and checked. His spirits sank. He found that all the cubeb in his cart had also turned into rat droppings. He dropped to his knees in despair and clasped his hand to his pained heart and reflected.
This is a misfortune that has befallen me after meeting that monk. He must know some magic. I must follow him and have him reverse his spell.
At that moment, another man was passing by and observed the cubeb merchant in obvious despair.
Hey, you there. You look so agitated. What is the matter with you?
The cubeb merchant told the man the whole story from his point of view.
Friend, don't worry. That monk is the famous Venerable Pilindavaccha. He's a teacher of mine. I will advise you. Go with your bowl of rat droppings and stand in front of my teacher. Then when he asks you what is in your bowl, tell him, "My bowl is full of cubeb, Venerable Sir." The Venerable Teacher will then say, "Wasara," then let it be so. You will then find your bowl full of cubeb again. However, very importantly, you must have humility in your heart, and you must first accept that this mistake has arisen from you, not from him. If you go to him with a haughty heart and impure thoughts, this will not work.
The merchant did as instructed, and when the Venerable Pilindavaccha said,
"Wasara, let it be so,"
all the rat droppings in his bowl turned into cubeb. When the merchant went back and checked his cart, all the rat droppings in there also turned back into cubeb. During another period, before the time of a Buddha, he was a universal monarch. There, he used his great opportunity and power to lead the people in following the 5 precepts and living a life of morality. Most of the devas in the 6 deva realms were indebted to him as the universal monarch who had established them in the 5 moral precepts and taught them to give dana and do wholesome acts, which led to their rebirth in the higher heavenly realms. When the Venerable Pilindavaccha became an Arahant, the devas paid homage to him day and night en masse. That is why, when the occasion arose, the Buddha announced, "Monks, among my monk disciples who are adored by the devas, Pilindavaccha is the foremost." And thus, the Venerable Pilindavaccha's aspiration, after many long years, had come to fruition. What did you learn from this story? Let us know in the comments. We hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you did, and click subscribe if you want to see our uploads. And consider making a donation to support our Buddhist animation project.